Hello, everybody. We've got an interesting market. We've got an interesting market today. Things are looking good for once today. Things are actually looking a little not bad. Not bad at all. We have a little bit of a green market. Believe it or not, a little bit of a green market. I'm opening up Webull right now. But things are not looking too crazy. Things are not looking too crazy. Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Palantir to $20 today. Man, if that happens, that would be nice. Range Rover, what's up? Good afternoon from Sweden. What's up? Good morning, Jacob. Midwest, Omer. Palantir shorts about to get torched. Yeah, let's get into this market. It's not looking that good for some of the shorts today. The shorts have had a field day, but today it's looking all right. Things are looking kind of good. Bitcoin's up at 42,000. Bitcoin's climbing. Market's looking pretty good. SPACs, Lilium, and Wejo up. Juan, what's up? What's up? Love you. Thank you for being here. There's sunshine during gloomy days. Yeah, I woke up in the morning. I just checked my thing. So Palantir's at 1156 right now. Everything's looking pretty well. Even ETH is up today along with Bitcoin. SPY's at 424, which is pretty good as well. SPY was touching 416. Yeah, so it ended 416 yesterday. And once the market opens, we're going to see that run up to 424, which is pretty interesting, right, in the pre-market. So you can see right there in the pre-market, 424. We have a bell, guys. I'm not going to show the bell. I'm going to show it once it's time for the market to open. I will ring the bell. It's a dope bell. It's definitely going to hurt your ears, though, so you got to be ready for that. You gotta be ready for that. Green is always good to start. What's up? Palantir to the moon. Morning Amit, thank you for the hard work from the Midwest. Appreciate you, Noob Farm. Thank you for being here. Have you considered leaps on Palantir? I have, but to be honest, I'm just buying shares. And I haven't really bought shares since February because I'm like running out of cash at this point. So, but yes, leaps, 2024 leaps are looking pretty good. Definitely not looking bad. But look at this. Look at everything. Look at all this green in the after hours of market. I mean, like, Smile Direct Club is red, but everything else is green. Sachin, hello. How are you? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I just got the notification. Palantir is up 5% to 1159 during pre-market. It is 9:29. We're about to see the market go. And you guys are going to hear the official bell. This bell is more official than CNBC's bell. Like, my bell is way cooler. And we're going to talk about why the market's green today. It could have to do with the market just being the market, because yesterday the market went down and up and down and up. So you've got a lot of different reasons for what's going on, but it is definitely that. Are you getting snow or rain in NJ? We're getting rain, actually. It's not snowing, but it's definitely raining. Tesla at 840. All right, market open. Market has opened. I hope I didn't kill your ears on that. Market has opened. Let's go to the watch list. Green. Palantir, 1138. Not bad. 1138. Here we go. 1138. Palantir ended at like 1090 yesterday. Tesla 840. Phenomenal open for Tesla. Here we go. Bitcoin 42,000. SPY. This is the big one. 424. It's up 2%. Now, why is this happening? Put your notes in the comment. Why is this happening? Also, you guys can see some of the sales right there on Webull. These are real-time sales. The red is people selling. The green is people buying. So we see a lot of green with people buying. Lots and lots of green. Look at that right there. Tons and tons of green of people buying the SPY. Overselling. Emmanuel, you guys need more cowbell? You know, so someone said that was going to upset my neighbors, and I was like, no, it's not. And now I'm just like, yo, I think it actually will upset my neighbors. Open Door got to 7. It was struggling at 6. Open Door is up. AMD, wow. AMD was almost below 100 the other day. Now it's there. This is a Webull for those who are asking. Did you really just cowbell the market open? Yes. This is why I've got to be the biggest finance YouTuber one day. I just cowbelled the morning open. That's exactly the reason. Oatly, I will add Oatly. Sachin said he's looking for 15 to be tested this month. Really, Sachin? 15 would be almost a 30% upside for Palantir. That's big. If you think we can get there, I mean, I'd be excited to see that. Oatly, this platform is Webull, guys. It's Webull. 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 Okay, Oatly is on the watch list now. Here we go. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why this is happening and kind of what's the reason for why the markets are being green in the first place. So the Dow has, so this is kind of the main breaking news that I wanted to show. The Dow has risen 550 points, driven by Ukraine conflict, driven as commodity prices are rallying given the Ukraine conflict is cool off. So let's read this real quick. So going again, the Dow rebounded 550 points as the rally in the commodity prices driven by Ukraine conflict cools off. This is the reason for why we're seeing a bit of a green market today. Stock futures posted sharp gains early Wednesday as recently surging commodity prices cooled off while the war in Ukraine continues. We said the futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 660 points. S&P is up 2%. The bounce came after the market fell for a fourth day on Tuesday, with the S&P and Dow falling deeper into correction territory. Yesterday, it fell pretty bad. West Texas Intermediate Crude, the U.S. oil benchmark, was down 4% to around $118. The wheat futures were also sharply lower. And we have some quotes here down to the bottom. The strength of the U.S. labor market, consumer, and aggregate corporate sector should act as the weight to keep us out of recession near term. That's sort of the key thing for why we likely might not get a recession. Overall volatility is likely to persist. There's a wide range of outcomes possible in Ukraine, but the fundamentals of the U.S. economy still look decent, especially if the Fed can navigate raising rates without breaking demand. So, I mean, yeah, it's not as bad as we would think it would be. Things are decently well from that perspective. Let's check the price of oil. Apple is up as well. Apple's not bad. WTI. Crude oil's at 1 under 17. So remember, it got to 140 earlier in the day, right? It got to 140 earlier in the day. Now it's at 117. So oil going down, that's great for markets, at least to ease some of the pressures that are going on. Tesla 840. Palantir presenting at an investment conference today at 4:45. Yes, Palantir is presenting at a conference today. You know what the funny thing is, guys? I was on my live stream last night. I live stream every night, 11 o'clock, do some late night stock talk analysis. And the funny thing was someone mentioned that it's a Morgan Stanley conference. And a day ago, who increased their price target on Palantir? Morgan Stanley. And I was like, oh, wait a second. This is a little interesting. You know, Palantir is presenting at their conference, and then at the day before, they got the official price increase. It's very interesting, some of the stuff that happens here. Owen says dead cat bounce. This could be a dead cat bounce, to be honest. It very well could be a dead cat bounce. We will ultimately see what happens. Let me tweet this link, guys, that I am actually live so that people know. Let's do that really quickly. Comment your biggest holding right now in the chat, and is it up right now? Comment your biggest holding, and is it up? I actually want to know how many of you think Palantir is your biggest holding. And we'll talk about that. Finally cashed out on my hood praise. I'm curious what happens with Palantir and JP Morgan. Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. That's going to be really, really interesting. Hello, Amit, AL Lee. Hello, AL. Thank you for being here. Let's go to the main area. Palantir's up at 11.59. Not bad, man. It's doing decently. Shopify was struggling to maintain 5.10 yesterday. Now it's at 5.4. You know what this shows? It's like when growth rips, it's a question of how sustained the rally is going to be, right? That's the question. Because if the rally sustains itself every day over the course of a year, like we saw in 2020, we get astronomically new highs. And if we don't get astronomically new highs, we still get decent highs. So, but it's a question of if tomorrow this all just falls apart. Let's look at gold. The price of gold. Let me open up this gold price. Gold is down. So we are down from $2,000. Investors are like, you know what? We don't think we're going to get a good return on gold. We're going to put our money in stocks. If you guys want to know the return on gold since 2010, it's like less than double. Like, look at past 5 years. If you invested in gold in 2020, 2010. It's not even from last year. It's 2010. If you get invested in gold in 2010, area right there, 2010, it was at $1,000, and now it's at 1985. That's not even 100%. That's not even a 1x gain. Like, that's how slow gold moves. Now, it went high to about 1900 in 2011. This was at the financial crisis. And then it went right back down to 1,000 in 2014. So, like, in 2010, if you bought it, you would be at the same price in 2014. And then it's gotten back up, and now it's at 1900, which, you know, it could go back down if it's time for gold to go back down. If stocks just look like a better choice. S&P 500 in my 401k. Hey, a lot of people have S&P 500 in their 401k, so that's okay. Palantir 4,500 shares at $17, not bad. Range Rover, Palantir's biggest hold. Understand. Tesla's 49% of my portfolio. Palantir's 13%. Makes sense. There may be a lot of selling into the strength. Yeah, that's the other thing I'm thinking. I'm just like, if there's a lot of selling into the strength, that probably wouldn't be the best right now. Let's go to CNBC. Let's watch some stuff that they're putting out. See how it looks. We also got to talk about Apple and some of their biggest launches, because Apple was pretty good yesterday, just in terms of some of the launches that they had. Let's look at what's one of the videos that I wanted to show you here. Let's look at this one. This one's a little bit going more on China, Russia. Let's watch this real quick. It's 4 minutes, and then we will discuss.
Being able to count to this point, at least, on China and President Xi. That was one of the things that he may have calculated correctly. But how much pressure does China have here? We talked to Eunice Yoon, our correspondent from Beijing, earlier, and she said, look, China wants to come down on the side of the winner and is maybe kind of walking both sides at this point. What do you anticipate China would do? And what would it mean if China were to pull its support away from Putin?
Well, I wrote about this earlier in the week, Becky, and I saw Eunice's report, which I thought was excellent. I mean, I begin with the fact that from Putin's point of view, if China is your only friend, you have no friends. Because China has no friends. It has vassals and customers. And so in the short term, if Putin is depending on China, the first thing they're going to do is squeeze him for better prices on oil and gas. In the long term, though, you know, China is clearly.
So China and I mean, like Putin and China are not gonna like the reason Tom Friedman, who's a journalist at the New Times, he's saying if China is your only friend, you have no friends. He's making a larger point about how the international community doesn't really enjoy China just as much as they don't like Russia, which is important to understand.
Flummoxed, I would say. They want to be connected and disconnected at the same time. They want to insulate themselves from these pressures in the global economy. And they're happy to see America get a bloody nose, West get a bloody nose and be weakened. And they're happy to see, you know, Putin get a bloody nose too, because remember, there's a long festering border dispute with Russia going back to the 1960s, when Russia took a bite out of northern China. So I think he's very vulnerable there. But if I were Xi Jinping, I'd be paying, and if I were the Chinese in general, I'd be paying attention, Becky, to three things right now. What you're seeing with Putin, I'm pretty sure, is what happens when you have a long-time leader, stayed in office too long, completely isolated. He can make some grotesque mistakes. Deng Xiaoping understood one thing about China. China got into huge trouble, communist China, when because it had a leader for life named Mao Zedong. And so he instituted this idea of constant rotations. Well, Xi Jinping is now trying to reverse that and become emperor for life, in effect, himself. If I were Chinese, I'd worry about that. They could have a Putin problem very soon. How much information does he get? Are people just telling him everything they want to know? Second, I think she's got to look at the fact that the United States galvanized a global coalition that dropped the equivalent of an economic nuclear bomb on Russia. We dropped a nuclear economic bomb on Putin that has the ability to completely freeze up his economy in the next 2 months. And I think she has to take that into consideration as he contemplates, Taiwan, et cetera. Secondly, what she, I think, did not understand at all is my Princess Diana rule. Princess Diana once complained that there were 3 people in her marriage. Well, guess what, Mr. Xi? There are 3 people in your marriage right now. There's China, there's America and the West, and there's weaponized social media. What we saw.
Boom. That's an important point about social media.
In Russia now was first these government sanctions, and then just a whole bunch of companies, individuals, amplifying those sanctions on their own, which you can do in a flat world. A lot more people can play now. And I think what she also should pay attention to is that news that the predictions that the West was dead may be premature. The West is rallying here in defense of democracy, freedom, and to support freedom-loving nations. And if I were she, I'd be studying this situation very, very closely. It's not a slam dunk for China.
Tom, I always thought the Soviet Union collapsed under its own weight because in this day and age, there's no such thing as what they were selling, what they were doing. And I don't see how in this day and age you can possibly think you're going to reconstitute it, because you're going to have 0 friends forever. And I don't even know if China stays a friend. And I wonder, that wasn't the case in World War II, which wasn't that long ago. I mean, your parents, Tom, probably, my father was at the Battle of the Bulge. So I thought things were different. But I think nuclear arsenals make everything impossible to calculate at that point, because that wasn't hanging over our head back during World War II. And it is now. And he has that capability, even with the world totally against him. I don't know. It's worrisome.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, it's really why I wrote what I wrote today. My mom was in the Navy in World War II, and the nuclear weapon was actually an innovation that came out of World War II when long-range bombers.
So that's important to understand there. It's this concept of China and Russia not really being able to do business or get along. One of the things that makes a lot of sense to understand is that, like, China does a lot of business with the West, right? And as a result of China doing a lot of business with the West, it is incredibly difficult for the West to just be able to, for like Russia to put a dent into what China is doing, or for Russia to replace all the business that China is doing with the West. And I think that's the important thing to understand here, which is why China's like, hey, Russia, they said, like, hey, we're not really going to be your friend if you kind of work on this stuff. It's not really the best use case for us as well. And I think that's the important thing to understand here. Okay. Guys, so real quick, I am going to play this video. I'm gonna go downstairs. I'll be back in literally 1 minute. This is the next video I wanted to play. It's about the U.S. relying on Venezuela. I'll literally be back in 2 minutes. It's a 4-minute video. We're gonna watch this and then we're gonna analyze this on the back end because I already saw this. Give us a second. Let's go to main area. All right, I'll be back in 1 minute. I'll be playing this. I'll be back in a second.
We are in a very difficult time right now. Joe Biden has managed to bring together a pretty strong coalition between the European Union, the United States. What we've put forth at this point has been pretty crippling economically. But what do we do now? What happens? What can we say as a country? Is there a bipartisan front where there is agreement on what needs to come next?
Well, Becky, in all due respect, it wasn't Joe Biden who brought Europe together. It was Putin invading Ukraine.
Okay,
it was the fear of where they were coming next. Well, what we do now is you don't say no to the MiGs. If you can't have a no-fly zone, why don't you allow the Ukrainians to develop their own no-fly zone, where they could actually have a ceasefire instead of Russia bombing and killing innocent people leaving? Yeah.
With if
Poland is going to supply the MiGs, Provide them to Ukraine. Those are the jets they fly. Those are the ones they are trained on. Let them
that would bring
defend
NATO
themselves.
into it, Kevin. Wouldn't we? If we're
How
part of
does
NATO, then doesn't that bring NATO into it?
Well, supplying javelins today,
No,
does that bring NATO
Polish
into
jets,
it?
The Polish
The Polish
MiGs.
jets, Poland says they'll only do it if we replace them with very strong jets right now. So by extension,
Why?
the United States would be involved with that right now.
Well, if you ask the question what the president should do, he should sell weapons, not just to Poland, but to Taiwan too. He should speed it up. Because you know what happens in that situation? We won't have another Ukraine. It deters those like China and Russia from entering other countries when they can defend themselves. And with all due respect, why would Biden, if he had this intel, if these sanctions were so dangerous, why wouldn't he have invoked them prior to entering? Because what Putin understood was nothing deterred him from going in. His plan was wrong. He thought Kyiv would fall in 3 days.
Right.
He did not understand how strong with Ukraine.
Do you worry about the idea that Putin has nuclear weapons? And we're just not sure if he's even a rational or logical person at this point.
If he's not rational or logical today, he's not to tomorrow either. So I don't think it's fair to sit and watch innocent people murdered when they want to defend themselves. I think we should allow them to defend themselves. I don't believe that gets us into any other situation. I believe it would also save thousands of people who want to escape, but it would also deter Putin from trying to go further.
What did you sent a letter to Gavin Newsom?
Yes, I sent it to Gavin Newsom simply to allow.
What do you want him to do?
I want him to lift his executive orders against oil and gas from the permitting, from the hydracking, because this would allow us in California to replace the 50,000 barrels we get every day from Russia with California. Wouldn't it be nice if you had companies like Chevron and others that care about an environment instead of buying it from Putin? And I don't think we should replace it with Iranian or Venezuela oil and paying other dictators. Let's create California jobs. Let's help America become energy independent.
So obviously this guy is against Venezuela. He's against Iran, and he's like, look, we got to create it ourselves. Now, it also, makes him as a politician look good for when he gets reelected. He gets to say, look, I was campaigning for a job. So one thing to take into account. Someone said,
let's do it in more.
Someone said in the chat that, wow, this girl has a deeper voice than me. This is one of the premier reporters of CNBC. She's been around for a while, actually.
Environmentally sound way. Let's make America stronger and the world safer.
Do you think anything's going to change in terms of, for example, Sarah Bloom Raskin? Will she eventually be seated on the Fed? She's obviously there's been.
I'm not in the Senate, but I think that'd be a fatal mistake for America. Should we not learn from our past? I would like to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes. And if we warned advance, think about what Europe wants to do now. They would like to reverse what they had done for the last couple of years, where they are now taking natural gas from Russia instead of providing it themselves. They put themselves in the situation that they're nervous about going in the future, but they were warned. They didn't fund their military, what they were warned about. And now they're in a weaker position, and weakness puts you in this when you could be stronger. Why don't we make our own strength? And think of this one question. If now the sanctions go in to stop Nord Stream 2 pipeline because somehow that will weaken the economy of Russia, well, what about the XL pipeline? Wouldn't that make America stronger? Instead of saying no to that?
Yeah, so this guy's point is just like, yo, we gotta do our own thing. We gotta drill. And I mean, I think it's a good point. It's just a question of, is it feasible for gas price? Like, gas prices yesterday were $4.15. Today, the cheapest I could find them for were $4.23. So like, it's obviously not good. We're not in the best situation right now when it comes to gas. But nonetheless, that's what's going on, right? And that's ultimately what we have to deal with. Someone says you have a crush on her. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, she's bad, bro. She's pretty bad. Sorry, but I just think it's green right now because most of the day trading happens until about 10:30 in the morning. It'll probably be red later in the day. Well, the thing is, the entire market is green. That's my thing, right? So like, but I agree with you. I mean, I don't know. Like, if there is a chance we actually get a nice green day, that would be interesting because in all likelihood, all this green could go away until the end of the day. right? Because that's the other thing to understand about what's going on in the market right now. There is no positive catalyst, especially with CPI data coming out tomorrow, with inflation not going away, in fact, getting worse. If there's no catalyst for it to, like, there's no reason the market should be green outside of an anomaly, that's the thing, or it's just being random, right? Which is why it's not that, like, crazy. Putin didn't invade under Trump. Putin sensed weaknesses. Yeah, the Trump thing is interesting. I mean, there is something to say that Putin only acts this aggressive when there's a Democrat in office, because with Obama, he annexed Crimea. With Trump, he kind of laid back, and then with Biden, he decided to go for Ukraine, which is, you know, it's interesting. The guy, or not the guy, someone said, admit Maduro in Venezuela is bad, if not worse than Putin. Yeah, Venezuela and Maduro are not that good. For those who don't know, let's watch this. Who is Maduro, Venezuela? This guy, people have said he's worse than, what's his name? Putin. He's not the best guy in the world. Let's watch this one for a little bit. This is really important to understand right here. We're just gonna watch a little bit of this. And the reason we're watching this, guys, is because oil we're trying to get from Venezuela, and like we probably shouldn't get it from Venezuela.
Even in a disastrous economic crisis, thousands of Venezuelans still turn out every week to support President Nicolás Maduro.
Notice these people are supporting their president even though they have, like, destroyed wages, hyperinflation, same stuff that's happening in Russia, not the hyperinflation. I mean, maybe we'll get to that, but still people support Russians. In fact, I was listening one night that yesterday people were watching TV in Russia and they were calling their like siblings in Ukraine, and they were saying, hey, we're coming to get you. You know, we're trying to stop the Nazification. And it's like the state-based media that has controlled people, given the communist dictatorial regime, is really, really not the best.
Vamos a defender la libertad, vamos a defender la independencia, vamos a defender a Nicolás, vamos a defender el legado de Hugo Chávez.
But that support is less about Maduro himself than it is about loyalty to the man who was president before him, Hugo Chávez. Chávez became a national hero by lifting millions out of poverty. And before he died in 2013, he named Maduro as his successor.
En ese escenario que obligaría a convocar, como manda la Constitución de nuevo, a elecciones presidenciales, ustedes elijan a Nicolás Maduro como presidente de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela.
That's all I wanted to show. Obviously, it's kind of insane, right? It's like absolutely insane, the level of influence that this guy has, and that's why people are saying, hey, let's not do like business with freaking Venezuela, because like they suck. A lot of companies are getting out of Russia too. I mean, look at this. Amazon stops sending products to Russia, cuts off Prime Video. That's wild, bro. Like, I don't get how Putin survives this when all these companies are just like stopping the ability to operate there. Like, if consumers cannot get goods and services in Russia, they're not going to be happy living in Russia. It's just that simple. Like, at the end of the day, that's just what it is. Range Rover said, I'll translate, he's saying Palantir to the moon. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Amazon, the moves announced in a blog post. Uh-oh, there's a blog post. Let's see this blog post. Here we go. Amazon assistance in Ukraine. Given the ongoing situation in Russia and Ukraine, we've taken additional actions in the region. We've suspended shipment of retail products to customers based in Russia and Belarus. We will no longer be accepting new Russian Belarus-based AWS customers. We are also suspending... This is a big one. If Russia and Belarus is not accepting AWS customers... AWS is the money printing machine for Amazon. It made about $71 billion of revenue last year, as per their Q4 earnings. So, you know, that's the big moneymaker for Amazon. It's not the products. It's not the cowbell. They make like less than a 3% margin. on. I'm sorry to hurt your ears again. If you guys missed Market Open, definitely rewind and see me ring the bell. We're going to be ringing the bell forever for the rest of life, so you guys are going to have time to enjoy it. So, like, if they're not making money off these, like, stupid little products, they're making money off the cloud computing where they have ridiculous margins, and they're stopping their ability to get new customers. These are new startups, these are new companies, these are small businesses, these are bigger corporations that want to increase their compute spend on AWS, then that means they're significantly halting their business, like the main source of revenue in their business, in Russia. And Russia, as a result, if they're not getting Google Cloud, if they're not getting Microsoft Azure, if they're not getting Amazon AWS, they have no data centers or infrastructures or offices, which is going to be bad. That's not good for Russia. I mean, like, I don't see the economy continuing. Pepsi stopped advertising in Russia the other day. It's like lots and lots and lots of different stuff are happening as a result of this. The final thing this says is that we're going to be continuing to partner with several NGOs and organizations. Amazon donated $5 million to those impacted. We're happy to report that over 10,000 employees have donated to the effort. Yeah, so these guys are definitely, like, out of Russia. And the crazy thing is just, like, if more companies are out of Russia, then I don't know if Russia's going to be able to survive. Imagine the bull case on a Starlink IPO. Yeah, that's a great point. IPO can be really, really big there. You say we shouldn't do business with Venezuela as if the OPEC nations are still examples of freedom or compassion or something. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying we should do business with OPEC either. I'm just saying the reality of the economy is that we have to do business with someone, and you have to kind of pick your poison. Obviously, if we could be fully energy dependent, that would be great, but that's just never going to happen, like, completely. Now, maybe if we transfer to solar and renewable because we don't need oil, we could do that. But outside of that, it's very unlikely that that ends up actually happening. So that's sort of the thing to kind of think about there. Russia already seeing a max exodus of its people, especially the young and educated. If the country doesn't collapse from the outside pressure, it will definitely collapse from the inside at this rate. Toby, that's a good point. Now, the question is, so in Ukraine, for example, men are not allowed to leave. Unless you have 3 kids or you're bribing security guards, they are conscripting you to fight for your country. And conscription is a process by which you have to actually, fight and defend the country's honor. So in Russia, I could imagine there is some level of conscription potentially going on where it's not as easy to just get out of the country. I don't know this for sure, but that could be a way to think about. As a previous AWS employee, I can tell you that if Apple was based out of Russia, they would continue to work there. Interesting. So, like, if they, but does Amazon really compete with Apple outside of, like, the Prime Video? Because Apple doesn't sell compute. So that's interesting. Interesting. Let's look back at some of the charts. Roku is up today, 118, up 4%. Palantir holding strong, up 5%. Let's see if that can last at the end of the day. That's the question. Cellularity. This is a SPAC by Palantir. I'm going to make a watch list just for the SPACs. I haven't made that one yet. It's on my phone, but not on Webull. SPAC, Cellularity's up $9.30. Look at Wejo. Wejo's at 380. There's a little bit of green candle there. I think it was at like 270 yesterday. Lilium's at 460. Not bad. There's another one, Adherent. Adherent's doing really well. So Adherent is a digital advertising technology company that uses Foundry for their data operations. So that's a really good one. Anything on Data Walk? I saw a video of Chris Patel that it might be concurrent to Palantir. So we did a live stream last night where we were basically roasting this video. Go check out the live stream last night if you want to see my comments on Data Walk. We're also going to talk about it on our podcast on Friday, 10:50 p.m. Me, Chris, Sachin will be talking about it. Data Walk there's a reason they're walking and not running. Let me just say that. Don't worry about them. That's my, don't worry about them. Gotcha. Coin up 9%. Yeah, Coinbase is also up 9%. Coinbase is doing really well. Coinbase, and again, I keep saying this, but it's important to understand, Coinbase is up 9% because Bitcoin is up. If Bitcoin dropped today, Coinbase would have also dropped, right? Like, it doesn't take a rocket science to kind of figure this stuff out. So, important to understand what that means ultimately. I'm trying to hold for Palantir to drop sub 10. Yeah, and I mean, like, guys, this is a little reversal, but this could be a bull trap. I mean, this could be a very, very... I saw a great picture the other day. I'm going to try to pull that up. This picture described really exactly how I was kind of talking about something. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. All right. Look at this picture right here. This picture kind of described a lot of what I was thinking. Oh no, he posted it on, it was a quote tweet. By the way, if you're not following on Twitter, @AmitIsInvesting, that is the Twitter handle. Definitely make sure to follow. So this picture is going to show you kind of what I'm thinking around if it is a bull trap. If I can find it. And that's what it kind of, that's what today kind of is feeling like. Now, is it actually going to be a bull trap? I don't know. But it definitely felt like that. If I don't find the picture, I'll find it in a second, and I'll give it to you guys. Yeah, it might be on someone else's. But basically, the point is, it was essentially showing a picture where you were going up, and then it's followed by going straight down. And that was basically what happened in 2008. So there's a world in which this is actually not, like, the best thing today. This is going to be a value trap for a lot of people. And then it ultimately gets worse right after that. But we're going to see. I mean, we're ultimately going to see what happens. And as a result of that, we will be able to figure out. Now, the White House issued an executive order on cryptocurrency. Let's learn a little bit more on that, and let's see what they're doing there.
The Department published, then removed comments on an upcoming executive order on cryptocurrencies. The prices jumped on that release, and now the details of the actual executive order are out, and even you can remove it a lot. It's like when I delete a tweet, you know, when I think better of something, someone's got it already. It's like too late. You know, once you've done it, you've done it. And I saw the executive order, and it was like, you know, exactly what you would have thought. We want to make it safe for investors. We want to lead in innovation, but we want to make sure we have the right kind of regulation that protects people. We want to, you know, protect the environment. All the normal things that, but not very specific, I don't think, about how you're going to do all that.
Right. What they're saying is that this is responsible innovation. President Biden will sign this executive order today, calling for just that in the crypto industry. The White House is directing a government-wide audit of the risks and potential benefits focused on a list of 6 key priorities. And those are consumer and investor protection, financial stability, illicit finance, U.S. competitiveness, equity and inclusion, and a host of other factors like privacy, security, and climate. Now, Treasury is tasked with developing policy recommendations for the industry, as well as issuing a report on the future of money and on payment systems. The Commerce Department would take the lead on creating a framework for the best ways to use the technology, and the administration is encouraging regulators to provide sufficient oversight and safeguard against systemic risk. Now, this order calls understanding how a central bank digital currency might work urgent, but a senior administration official said that foreign CBDC do not pose a threat to the dollar. The White House said that they were having extensive engagement with the industry before announcing this directive. And in fact, they started calling those weekend meetings Crypto Sundays. So as you mentioned, the initial response to the inaccurately posted or incorrectly posted Treasury statement was positive, but now that folks can dig through the details, we'll see if that sentiment holds.
It just seems like we've got a panel that's going to consider creating a study to study eventually how to do this with crypto. Here's the things we want to do, but it's short on specifics.
But it
seemed friendly. It seemed friendly, though.
Right. It didn't have to go this way. I mean, I think you're right. This doesn't have a whole lot of teeth. It punts on, you know, the really controversial question of who regulates what and how. So there's a lot of turf battles happening within the federal government. But when you look at something like a year ago, the executive order on competition, you know, that clearly started with the theory that corporate consolidation was, you know, harming consumers and that the administration needed to take action on it. So it didn't have to come as a sort of neutral tone. The administration has clearly shown that it's willing to use executive orders to take stronger action in the past. So in this case, I would say that the industry can view it as a win, that, as you mentioned, they're pretty open to the innovation and the benefits of technology, but recognizing that there are concerns as well. Look at the stablecoin report that came out, which was really focused on the financial stability risks of stablecoins. That one was also had a fairly negative tone. This one is a lot more neutral.
So that cryptocurrency thing, I don't think it like. I mean, it didn't. Again, as she said at the end, it was neutral. So it's like, I don't know what the point of it was. I think it was kind of like their point of like trying to get something out there into the world and be like, hey, things are gonna be okay. And it's just like, well, you didn't really say much, so I don't really know necessarily what's that important. Palantir is running new highs today. Yes, Palantir is at 1170 now. If we go to Webull, not bad. Again, today's a green day in the morning. In the night, I don't know. We're at 1170 right now. You can see these are real-time sales coming in. Lots of buying primarily. We see a little bit more green than red. And that's how we're staying at 1170. A lot of this stuff is algorithms right now that are doing a lot of the work. And as a result of that, that's what we see. Let me look at the 5-day. There we go. So this is the 5-day on Palantir. Now the question is, can we hold this, right? Can we hold this? Because if we can't hold this, so we got to 1175 2 days ago, and that was our high, and we weren't able. So if we get past 1175, guys, that's the new high for this week. And I think that's going to be a question of if we're able to do that. SPY up to 425, not bad at all. SPY's looking awesome. Let's look at Fiverr. I know we were looking at this. 71. Fiverr's at a new high. Netflix back up above 350. Netflix dropped to 340 the other day, so it's up 16 bucks. That's great for Netflix. Palantir goes down when you stop streaming, I've noticed. I've got to stream literally all day just to keep the stock price at like $2 above what it should be. Maybe it's legitimizing crypto. Yeah, but I mean, it could be legitimizing crypto. I think they ultimately have to pass real regulations, not this like nonsense. Hey, crypto's okay. To like actually regulate, paying taxes on crypto is actually the best thing you could do for crypto, because it is going to make it a real commodity or a real security at that point. And if it's not a real security, until then it has this weird esoteric type of aura to it. And also, institutions are not going to be able to buy it if they can't pay taxes on it, because that's just like not like reasonable to expect institutions to be able to buy it without paying taxes. So that's important. NTR, Nutrient, this is a measure for wheat, I believe, down today, $91. So, I mean, it just goes to show oil and all this stuff on Monday morning was like ripping all-time new highs. And now it's just back down, and growth stocks are doing well today. And this is now I'm just excited for when this finally becomes mainstream. Like when the market finally rips back into growth the way that we all think it can rip back into growth. That's going to be the fun element of it. And I'm excited for that. So that's important for me. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Ultimately, what we have to see what goes down. They will just figure out how to inflate it into oblivion. Yeah, I mean, hopefully. But the thing about Bitcoin, right, is that there's 21 million of them. Like, that's what I'm being told about Bitcoin. There's 21 million. The code is coded in a way in which you can't make more of them. So because there's only a certain amount, then we should be good to go. So I think that's the key thing here. All right, guys, we're coming up to the end of the stream. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Late night stream, 11 o'clock tonight, or like 11:15ish. I will probably be streaming as well. Make sure you check it out. We talk stocks and we talk philosophy on that stream. Going to be coming out with some more videos today talking about Palantir. Palantir's conference at 4:45. We'll be covering that probably later in the night, and tomorrow morning we'll do a video on that talking about it. And yeah, hopefully if I end the stream, there's not going to be a crash in Palantir. If it does, then it just means that the cowbell